All right, y'all.
Woo.
We giving our pleasantries and everything. We are live. Hey, welcome to the night's call. My name is Eric McKinley. I'm the Director of Program Development of National Business Builders. And I have on the call right now Miss Bertha Winston out of the DMV area. Y'all don't know what that is. That's DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. And then I got Miss Lillis Lumpkins out of St. Louis, Missouri. They're checking in and probably have some more people check in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, as you jump on, drop your city and your state. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Like it, share it, and tag somebody. Again, drop your city and state. Let everybody know where you're tuning in from as you pop on this Friday evening. Like it, share it, and tag someone. Because when you do that, you reach out to people who actually need this information. We can't reach out to everybody. We can't do it. We try to reach out to as many people as we can, but we just can't reach everybody. So we're gonna use you as a chain, right? As a connector, so to say, to reach the people that we can't reach. I hope y'all had a productive day today. I know I did, and I still am. Sean Don out of Clarksburg. How you doing? And I don't know. Do y'all ladies have a productive day today?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Started at 8:30.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Some of us been on calls all day. Some of us been training and getting our business together all day. For me, I know for me, I've been in the yard pretty much all day. Still doing some things out in the yard and doing some what we call it some maintenance, some improvement in the area. But the thing I want everyone to be mindful of is this. I know that society has coined April as Financial Literacy Month, but we on this panel and a group of our associates and our friends, our circle, we talk about financial education, which leads to financial literacy every single day.
Yeah.
And why do we do that? Well, we do that because it's a necessity. It's necessary, in order for us to be able to cash in on the promises of God. Then we have to be in the right position to be able to do that. And for some reason, sometimes we don't always find ourselves in position, but we want to make sure that everyone understands that we are here to educate, we're here to share, we're here to uplift, we're here to inspire. Hopefully something that you see you can use in your little bag, take with you, and it'll motivate you to go a little bit further. But what I really want you to understand is that you have to do something different if you want to see different results. It's just that's it, And I'm excited because I'm getting some constructive criticism. I'm getting some constructive criticism from my coaches, from other leaders, and that means people are engaging. Yeah, that's what that means.
Yes.
I don't know about you ladies. Have y'all been getting any conversation as to what we've been doing and anybody talking about what we're doing?
I have not.
Not yet.
Not
Don't
yet.
worry about it. Listen, we ain't gonna stop doing this. The average person doesn't see results primarily because they're not doing what they need to be doing long enough. What you got, babe? Nah, you good. So we gotta be consistent long enough to see the results that we want to see.
Right.
We have to, or else we won't see the results that we want to see. But that's just it. They said the average person that's successful in business, whether it's a particular business or network marketing, they say they stay with that company for 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
That's consistency.
Wow.
You will not see the results that you want to see unless you're consistent. And the strategies that we share in our circle, you have to remain consistent to see those strategies take root.
Well, I'm almost at 10. I got 8.
Yeah, see, but you're seeing some success, aren't you?
Of course. Yes.
And the more you do it, the more success you're going to see.
Exactly.
It may not see what people have come to believe in this microwave type society with the personalities that we have. We've come to believe that we have to have it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I've seen happen right now is debt.
That's it.
That's immediate. As soon as you sign that paper, that's it, right?
That's it.
Well, we're gonna talk about some things, and if you guys are if you guys are getting on the show, Wednesday we talked about taxes, and last couple of weeks we've been talking about taxes. So we're gonna talk about taxes one more again. All right, one more again at least today. Like I said, I've been getting some constructive criticism and things that we can do to make the show a little bit better and give some content.
Okay.
And I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I think from the slide presentation that we had yesterday,
that was very good, very educational.
So we're going to continue with that, okay? And at the end, of course, I'm going to share that information with the panel. I owe you, Ms. Lillis from Wednesday, so I owe you two. But we're going to be sharing this information and getting it out there. So check this out. God laid this on my heart. And I don't know about y'all. I get some. I'm a very creative person. Yeah. I'm a very creative person.
You are.
And always thinking. And most of my thinking happens when I'm in my quiet place is in the bathroom. So I was taking a shower, okay? And I was taking a shower, and I always get these thoughts because you like deep and locked in. Well, God laid this on my heart, and this is what He laid on my heart. He said to tell them, share with them before you get started. Share with them about the parable of the sower.
Oh wow, that's my favorite.
That's one of my favorites. We're in Matthew 13. Okay, we're in Matthew 13. That's my favorite. Just so you know, Miss Bertha, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna even go a little further, and I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen so y'all can see where I'm actually reading from.
It's ironic because my paralegal asked me about that this week, and I had to
really.
Yeah, because she was concerned about why did God take? Why did He take the talent from the one who buried his talent?
Come on now. Why did He take the talent from her?
I said he had the ability to do it, but he didn't. So God gave him an assignment, and he didn't do it. So
he folded. He see, God gave him an assignment, but also God gave us free will.
Yes. I said so. He chose to bury his. He didn't do nothing with it.
He chose to bury his talent. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is, and you know, you and me, Miss Bertha, we're always there, right?
Yeah,
we're always there. So check this out.
Yeah.
People are wondering, Lillis, why we're sharing how we're sharing what we're doing. Why are we doing it like this? Well, this at the end of this parable, you're gonna see why we're doing like we're doing.
It's powerful.
It is. It answers a lot of questions.
Yes,
it really does.
It does.
It says,
I preached on it one time.
Well, you know, Miss Bertha, you can preach on this parable for a month.
Yes.
You can get a good 4 or 5 sessions out of this.
Oh, yes, easily.
Once again, what I said, if you're just catching this, many times we don't see the results that we want because we are not consistent.
Yeah.
We don't stay.
Yeah.
We don't stay in the field.
That's right.
We chase. Okay. So check it out. The parable of the sower, Matthew 13. And it says that that same day, and I'm reading the NIV version. It says that same day, Jesus went out of the house. I'm gonna read slow because I get excited. Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered. So basically what he did was he went into the lake. He was on a boat, right? He was on the boat. Or is this the one where he was on the boat, or was that the one of the sowing the wheat and the tares?
I think it was on there.
This is this. Yeah. And it says, okay, and it goes on. It says that crowds gathered around him so much that he got into a boat. So he was preaching from the water, y'all.
Yeah.
He was preaching and teaching from the water. And it says, while all the people stood on the shore, then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it didn't have a lot of soil. It came up quickly. But the soil was shallow. And because the soil was shallow, when the sun came up, it scorched the plants and they withered because they didn't have any dirt to catch root.
No root.
I want y'all to relate this to your life.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then it goes on to say other seeds fell among some thorns.
Mm.
And they started to grow.
Yeah.
But the plants got choked out by the thorns.
Yeah.
But they still had some other seeds that fell on good soil.
Mm-hmm.
And they produced crop. And they produced 100, 60, and 30 times. That's 30-fold what was sown. And he says, in 9, he says, whoever has ears, let him hear.
Mm-hmm.
So now the disciples, this is the part that really gets me, because every time I read this, I get something different. The disciples came to Jesus and asked him, he said, why do you speak to the people in parables and stories? And Jesus replied, because see, you a disciple. You have the knowledge. You are connected to the power source.
That's right.
But the people not.
They don't.
You got the information. The people don't have the information. He said, because you have the knowledge of the kingdom of heaven, it's already been given to you, but not to them.
Not to
and
them.
Then he says, whoever has will be given more.
Yep.
They will have an abundance.
Yep.
Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from
taken
them.
away. Yeah.
And this is why I speak in parables. That's what he said.
That's
so why am I saying this? Real simple. This is why I'm saying this. The reason why we're teaching like this is because we want to make it so simple and so plain to where everybody can understand.
Yeah.
The last thing we want is for you to miss the message and miss the mark. We don't want to be so deep and so powerful that we over your head. So breaking this information down is going to make it so simple, just as Jesus was doing with the people who did not have that connection. They didn't have the answers.
And what this means is everything in life that you need is in the Bible.
Everything that we need in life.
Everything for life.
Talk to me. Everything
is in the Bible. Everything.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, he didn't leave nothing out. So you want to know how to be prosperous and wealthy?
It's in the Bible.
It's all there. It's all there.
And I know some people are really, really afraid to talk about spirituality, talk about God and their business.
That's life.
You can't talk about anything without putting God in.
I'm serious.
Not if you're a true believer.
Right.
Not if you're a true believer. It doesn't work like that. Okay.
Because he said everything you do, give it to him.
Gotta put it first.
Yeah.
Gotta put it first.
Yeah.
So we got
and it says basic instruction. Okay.
And we got to remember that. We got to be mindful of that.
Basic instruction. It's an instruction manual.
Absolutely.
And the instructor wrote it. I mean, the ultimate instructor wrote it. So, hey.
If we're going to put something together, we don't want to just try to be putting it together without reading instructions, right?
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
You know, most men are very guilty of that. I've been guilty of that a lot.
Oh yeah,
in the past, trying to put stuff together without reading the instructions.
We all have.
Women too.
Women too. Y'all do that too?
Oh yeah, we do it too. Skip the instructions.
Hey, listen, we got Mr. James Hall out of Fallen Waters, West Virginia, and he's just popping on. And if you didn't know, we were reading from Matthew 13, the parable of the sower. And look
at his eyes. His eyes popped out.
It was just my son's Bible study earlier.
Yeah. See, we in sync, man. Page. And the real message that I was wanting to get to everybody, James, is verses 10 through 13, where the disciples asked him, hey, you know, why do you speak to them in parables? And he basically was saying that, you know, because you have the hookup already. You got the hookup. They don't.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're doing these trainings and breaking it down to the lowest level, because we have the hookup.
Yeah.
Everybody else don't. So we got I see a Facebook user. It didn't come in yet, but I see Miss Cortina Traffic on there. Thanks for jumping on. Miss Valerie Norfolk, thanks for jumping on. And also Mr. Drinker Winston Sean, thanks for jumping on. Guys, listen, I appreciate y'all. And I'm getting emotional a little bit because I was talking to my wife. as God was giving that to me, and I was sharing it with her, and I was saying, you know, for me, this is getting big. I don't care how many viewers we have. I don't care how many people see this right now or later. But for me, this is getting big because I'm beginning to see more and more how much this is needed to share with people in this type of way. So just asking that everybody, as you jump on, once again, like it, share it, tag somebody. Just read from Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 through 13. And you guys go back and check that out. So we're still talking about taxes. It's a topic. It's a hot topic, y'all. And it's something that needs to be educated. We need to be educated, more educated on it. So as if you like what you saw on Wednesday, hopefully you'll like what you see tonight, because I have a little bit more to share with you. And then we got our tax expert on here. He'll beat me up if it ain't right. But like he said the last time, you think you got it right? No, I better have it right. So I don't have a problem with constructive criticism or correction. That's why we kick it like we kick it. We hang out like we hang out. Let me see. I want to make sure I got the right one up. And let's go, y'all. Let's go. Y'all should be able to see that. Now, this is us. Well, this is my company, but we have associates that's on here with us talking finances with NBB, and we're talking about tonight understanding the filing status and what it means to itemize. I want to make sure this is clear, because these are some terminologies that a lot of people don't understand. You'll see a lot of this, and some of this is going to be some of the same because we're still talking about taxes, but you see there's so many things that we can talk about as it pertains to taxes. We already know that taxes are a touchy subject, y'all. Nobody has to tell us that.
That's right.
We know that. But oftentimes subjects are touchy because we don't have the education. We're not educated. And we have to start becoming educated. We have to. There is no, if we want to get better, we have to be we have to be around people who know. We have to do our studying on our own. We have to trust and verify. So we're talking about filing status. We're going to talk about itemizing and why we should choose itemizing over taking standard deductions, or vice versa. Okay, or vice versa. What's the best option for us, basically? Okay, so here we go. Filing status. It's a category, basically just a topic, a category that defines the type of tax return a taxpayer must use when filing their taxes. Okay? And it depends on what your status is, whether you are single, married, whatever, okay? But that's what it depends on. I'm going to leave that up there for a little while and give you opportunity to talk about it. Anybody want to take a stab, ladies? Filing status. Don't make me call your name, Miss Lillis, because we had a conversation earlier.
Yeah, well, I filed head of household, and I made the mistake of using the filing status as head of household for my daughter, because she had moved out and she was on her own. Although she was single, I thought because she was paying all of her bills that she would be considered head of household. But I found out that I was wrong, and I had to redo her W-4.
Her 1040, or her W-4, and her,
yes.
And okay. So, question: when you found out you were wrong, how'd you feel when you found out you were wrong?
Not too smart. I will say that.
Well, you know, and it goes a couple of ways. But did you feel enlightened afterwards?
Oh yeah, I knew the right way to do it then. So I'm like, okay, so now I know exactly what I need to do. So yeah, after one of our trainings, I found out how to do it correctly.
Well, you know, a lot of people shy away from the truth or the corrections because they don't want to feel a certain type of way. But this is all in love, y'all. You're gonna hear some more stuff. Miss Bertha, what you got for us?
Well, I'm married, so I'll always file married status, you know.
Married, filing jointly. Married, filing. Okay.
Married filing jointly. So that's what,
Did you?
that's how
So
we've
you
always filed since I've been married.
okay. So you didn't do like I did, because I did an okie doke.
Okay.
For those of you who know what an okie doke is, I tried to bleed the system. Now I didn't know. I just thought it was something that I could do. You know, while I was deployed and out of the house temporarily. I filed head of household and took one dependent, and my wife filed head of household and took another dependent.
Okay.
You know, that was not right. That was incorrect.
Yeah.
And you don't know. It says that last sentence, it says you must file your status honestly, or it will be considered fraudulent, and penalties might be, if you caught, they will be assessed.
We all get it. We all get it.
Or something, at some point in time. Mr. Hall, what you got?
Well, I think it goes back to just really understanding. So, I mean, I filed married filing joint. And I remember when I got married back in 2012, I actually had a coworker who was like, yeah, you know, you can change your W-4, right? I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, I got that increase in my check. I'm like, man, that's what it's about right here. But I filed married filing joint, and we always have. But, you know, of course, I've seen various circumstances, various situations. I've seen some people advocate for, you know, doing it that way as well. You know, even in the professional industry, I've seen some people now. A lot of times when I see someone with an incorrect filing status and somebody else did their taxes, I also see something else. It says self-prepared, but that's a whole nother ball game right there.
Yeah,
that's a training on itself.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's a training on itself. Somebody else did their taxes, but it says self-prepared. Ooh wee. Yeah.
So, but it is legal. Is it legal to file married and separate?
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yes, ma'am. You can. So, go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying it's rarely ever advised. It's rarely official.
Right.
Yeah, it's legal. It's one of the filing statuses for married people. However, one of the filing statuses for married people is not head of household.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
That is.
And I didn't know that. I thought because we separated, you know, and this was some years back. This was many years back. You know, since we've been filing jointly. And I've even seen people, you know, for whatever reason, like James said, it's not recommended. I see people saying, hey, you know, we're gonna file, you know, married filing separately, and not understanding that you're splitting things down the middle pretty much. You know,
or even so, married men think they're supposed to file head of household.
Yeah, because they think that they're the head of the house.
Right.
The IRS don't see it like that though.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they don't know.
Yeah.
They just don't know.
The IRS don't see it like that. And that's the lack of education that we just assume by the verbiage. And
we got it from somebody else too.
And we got it from somebody else. You know, we got that information from somebody.
The 80,000 who taxes is wrong is filing them wrong.
Much more than that. Yeah, much more than that. But you're right. So, you know, that stigma is put out there for whatever reason. People are trying to save money in different ways. They're trying to get over without thinking that they're actually getting over. And like I did, they try to justify it, you know? They try to justify it. You know, when you find yourself trying to justify something, it's a question right there if it's right or not. I always say this: truth don't need no kickstand.
I knew I was wrong, but I didn't know how to correct it.
Like, and that's
I knew I was wrong, but no one never told me I should correct it. So I was filing. I mean, I had my taxes up to 10, 12.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, well, you know, once again, that's a training on its own. You know, when you start talking about your allowance,
that's illegal too.
You know, when you start talking about your allowances and stuff, that's a whole nother training right there. That's, you know, that whole idea of switching back and forth. You know, I had a buddy.
Yeah,
I had a buddy.
I did that too.
Yeah, I had a buddy right before right
6
before
months,
bonus
6
time.
months.
Yeah, right before
Yep.
bonus time. They ramp that thing up
Yeah,
because they want to keep that money, you know.
yeah,
And then they go back, and
yeah.
then the IRS call you.
Oh,
They saw that activity.
thank
They
God
saw
for
that.
education.
Yep. They saw that activity.
Right.
They got locked in. You know what I'm saying? Once you get locked in, that's like
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
up to 2 years or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, the grace of God.
Yeah,
Great
but God,
grace and mercy.
grace
Grace
and
and
mercy. Yeah.
mercy. Ignorance, ignorance.
But if y'all are out there looking, these are the filing statuses. These are the only filing statuses. These are the only filing statuses. You can't make nothing else up. So there's only 5. There's only 5. Now there's some other instances and situations, and each tax situation is different. Each situation is different. So we can't put everybody in a box. That's why they have these filing statuses. But even when you go to that part, everybody's situation even goes a little bit differently. So I just wanted to share that with you. Single, of course, somebody who is not married, but for all intents and purposes, James, can a single person still have a dependent?
Well,
I had to throw that one at you, bro.
I recently encountered a situation where you can actually claim head of household, but not actually claim the dependency.
Gotcha.
So that one was very, very new for me. But for
Yeah.
majority of people, if you don't have anybody that's filing your return with you because you still have to put them on your return, then no, you can't file head of household. I actually did something, Eric, I've never done before. I went back and looked at the 2010 W-4. And I went back and looked at the 2014, and it says it right there. Generally, you may claim head of household filing status on your tax return only if you are unmarried and pay more than 50% of the cost of keeping up a home for yourself and your dependents or qualifying individuals. So if you don't have another qualifying individual or dependent, then head of household just ain't for you. And I had to go back and look because how the heck has it been there this whole time? And I missed it.
Well, it's been there because you ain't been looking for it.
That's right.
It's been there, but you missed it because you ain't been looking for it. That's why.
Don't even know to look for it.
We don't know to look for it. That's the real answer. Here you go. I'm gonna share this really quickly, and then we'll get back to our regular scheduled service.
Yeah, I'd like James to talk about the widow and widower qualifying.
Okay, give me 1 second, Ms. Bertha, and
the next one. Yeah,
we're gonna get him on that.
because they confused on that too.
Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what James was talking about, y'all.
What year is that?
This is 2021.
Oh, okay.
But see, we don't know where to look for it.
Okay. Head of household.
Check only if you're unmarried and pay more than half the cost of keeping up a home for yourself and a qualified individual. But we don't, in the past, it was on the instructions.
Mm.
Yep.
In the past, it was on the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not so. So, yeah. But so, James, so if you don't mind, can you touch on the qualifying widow or widower?
Yes. Yeah, so, I mean, you would claim that pretty much in a situation where you were married and a spouse passed. And what they do is, it's I think it's a point of grace that they give it to an individual that the spouse did pass. They allow them to claim that status, and if they have any other dependents, they can still claim that status as well for the next 2 years in the event of a spouse's death. So if no one has passed, then clearly, there wouldn't be any qualification for a qualifying widower or widow. But typically, it's in a situation where a spouse passes, and you can claim that and still get the higher tax deduction that you were getting when you were filing marriage joint.
And like you said, it's that grace. It's that grace because what's changed is your financial situation has changed.
A lot.
You've lost income.
Right.
You've lost income. So somebody was smart enough. Thankfully, somebody was smart enough to say, "Hey, listen, this widow or widower has been devastated enough already and I'm sure they've been devastated financially. No need to have any other hiccups. So they get 2 years to get on their feet, right?
Right.
Wow, that is great.
So that's what we're doing, y'all. So if you're just jumping on, we're talking about the filing statuses. We just shared the filing statuses. Let me hit this again.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So what would be a good situation for a married couple to file separately?
Shit, there you go, brother. That's you, James.
Oh man, you gonna put that on me?
I mean, I take a stab at it, but well, you can clean it up. So, a good situation for a couple to file separately. Something that James said that really hit hard because I was in the military for a while. So you could be in 2 separate duty stations for the military, or business wise. If you have a business relationship with your spouse, you guys are making whatever you're making. I don't know. Maybe you're both in 2 different locations. Maybe you're physically in 2 different locations, and physically you are both taking on some expenses. I don't know. I think that might be a good reason. But you want to clean it up, James?
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, it's a whole lot of variables. To be perfectly honest, I always advocate for filing joint. The only way separate would work better for someone is if you're talking about, someone has a completely under withholding of taxes, like the husband has an under withholding of taxes, but the wife doesn't. So instead of penalizing them together, they could file separate and then get taxed a little bit differently. But the majority of cases, you're going to lose benefits. I've seen couples filing separate, you have dependents, but what happens is they lose their earned income credit. They lose the credits for student loan interest and things of that nature. So filing separate usually takes more than it gives because there's other options. If there is an under withholding for one spouse versus the other, where they could do something completely different other than file separate. But you look at it like this: if you're ever going to combine income, would you want to take $12,400 off the top, or would you want to take $24,400 off the top, or $24,800?
800, yeah.
It's always going to be a bigger benefit. So even for our clients, they ask that question. What would it have been if we filed separate? So we print them out a report that shows always it has never let me down. It always shows that you save money by filing joint. So there's only very few situations where I would advocate for filing separate, and usually it would be that withholding issue. But even then, you don't have to file separate to resolve that issue.
Yeah, there's other things that you can do paperwork wise, right?
Right. There's the concept of innocent spouse, where if your spouse is doing something different and they're under withholding on purpose, that you can relieve yourself from that burden, and then they won't take your take your refund because of your spouse. Yeah.
So, but once again, tax professionals don't know this, and obviously the person that's filing the taxes don't know this either. So this is why we're doing it. So if you and your spouse, y'all married, and one owes taxes, or one is not doing the correct thing with their withholding, and there's paperwork that you can file without having to file married filing separately and losing those other benefits.
So what if there's 2 physicians in the household? I mean, both of them make a lot of money. So most of the times they don't even carry their husband's name when they're physician. They carry a separate name. So in a situation like that, what would you recommend?
I would advocate for filing joint. So what I do is, with the couples that we have as clients, if they want to know both, I say we file and look at joint first, and then I can run a report to see if it gives you any advantage to run separate. The reality is, you look at it like this, right? You got a person who's working 2 jobs. Well, both of those jobs are going to be taxed individually based off of the tax rate.
Right.
It's no different than when you have a husband and a spouse who have 2 jobs. When you separate them, they're going to pay a higher tax percentage because now instead of collectively 24,800 coming off the top, they're only getting a smaller
half of that.
12,000 and some change.
Right. Okay.
And remember the tax.
That makes sense.
Remember our tax system is progressive.
Right.
So yeah, that's really gonna hurt them. That's really gonna hurt them. And that's a great way to. That's a great clear for me. That's a great clear explanation, James, because we're thinking that hey, we're saving money, but we're actually putting ourselves in a bind by removing some of the deductions that we would have gotten when married filing jointly. What about
you made a very good point there with the progressiveness, Eric. Because the reality is now you go from a 22% tax bracket to now
I thought about that.
To now where they're both individually 22%.
22%, yeah. They both individually getting progressively hit, but they all got the same bills in one household. I want y'all to hear that. Let me stop this sharing for a minute. I need all these single-minded people. I need all these single-minded people. I'm gonna say it. I gotta say it. I need all these single-minded people, all these strong, independent people, men or women. I want all these people who married that's listening to their mama. All these men who married listen to their mama and dad, and women listen. You're married. You're married, and the government is looking at you guys that you have one set of expenses. You got one set of expenses. Why are you fighting each other? You're fighting each other, trying to beat each other to the ATM machine, and you basically hurting each other. You got one mortgage. You got one set of credit cards. You got one set of car expenses, one set of grocery bill, one under one roof. But for some reason, we want to take all the petals off the flower and leave it bare.
So what did the Bible say? You become one flesh. One.
You become one.
So one is one. You can't.
Yeah, one ain't two.
You can't. One is one.
One ain't two. You can do this if you want to and try to split yourself down the middle, but it's gonna hurt. And every time you try to split that,
too, where they are not in oneness because the husband will say, "Well, it's my money and your money is your money and my money is my money." So they are filed separate because they don't want it to come together. They do that too. I've seen that.
And you know what I see as a result in this person? I see dead people.
Yeah.
I see people struggling.
That's the way they feel, and they won't change.
Yeah. Well, something's going to change them. Something's going to change them. Hopefully, this education enlightens them, and they'll see the light.
It's the right perspective. If we think about it like this, what does it benefit me to marry my wife? And now, as in before, nothing changes. Our money is separate. She got the things she want to do. I got the things I want to do. If we think about that logically, what was the point of getting married and sharing the same household? And the reality is they were probably sharing the same household already to begin with. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different time. It does not make any sense to sit there and now you have two incomes. You better than the person that got one.
Yeah,
you got two incomes, and now you have twice the opportunity to run your financial plan. And you still want to be separate. That ain't nothing but pride.
Yeah.
And hard-headedness.
Yeah, you're right. That is.
And sometimes what you were taught.
And sometimes, so a lot of things are keeping us behind then.
You're right.
A lot of things keep us behind, not being able to let go of the past. Not, pride is followed by destruction. When we stop wanting to learn new things, it's time to just lay down. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that and what happens is when we find out, oftentimes we decide to make that decision to do the right thing. It's so far gone.
Yeah, exactly. Because
there is a such thing. If y'all are out there listening, there is a such thing as too late financially.
Yeah,
I hate to say it. But there is a such thing as too late financially because you have to, it takes some time to shift your mindset.
Yeah.
It takes some time to create new habits.
Yeah.
So, better now than not. Someone wanted to, if you could too, James, if you don't mind, can you talk about the head of household. I mean, let's talk about the qualifications. I know what it says, but oftentimes what happens is we think because, like Lila said, we think because we are taking care of ourselves, that we qualify to do that. And if we're self-preparing through tax software, guess what we can do? We can do that.
Right.
It allows us to do that. So can you kind of give a little bit more clarity on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, just to put it in layman terms and as simple as this, the IRS considers a household people who are filing the same taxes. So you take my household, for example. I have my wife and my 2 children. My daughter is 19 years old. Well, you know what? For tax sake, we are not all the same household, even though we're living under the same roof. So we got to switch the terminology from what we want it to be and what we think it should be for what the IRS says it is. To accept new information, we got to be humble and open to learn what we don't know and think about it from a different perspective. So for this particular example, when we filed our taxes for 2020, it was me, my wife, and my son, and my daughter filed her own. We got 2 separate households under the same roof. So
tax-wise.
Yeah, tax-wise. So she could not file head of household because she's only one person in her household. Head of household, you got to have at least 2 people in your household. You and somebody that you take care of 50% of the household for. Now, a lot of people try to get it. Oh, well, okay, I'm working. My boyfriend or my girlfriend ain't working. Now, yes, there are some very, very small circumstances where you can claim somebody else, but they got to have 0 income. And the reality is, if you working and you taking care of somebody else, that's a whole different topic. And y'all not married.
And I also read somewhere too, James, that age is a factor as well.
There's a bunch of different tests.
It's a bunch of different factors. Yeah. If you could be, you could be the younger person, and that person that doesn't have a job is older than you, you ain't gonna be able to qualify.
Right.
It's a lot of different variables, like you said. So don't try to figure this out on your own, man. You're gonna end up on the piper. Y'all know who the piper is. Nobody wants to be in a position to have to pay the piper. Nobody wants to do that. But that's what
Miss Lillis, you could just file single. Your filing status will be.
No, my daughter's filing status will be single, but I'm still head of household because I have a dependent.
Okay.
You have a qualifying dependent. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay.
She still has a qualifying dependent.
Okay. All right, got you.
But in that sense, though, yeah, if it was just you and that one daughter, then yes, then that's what it would be.
Right. Okay.
So here, let's talk about what does it mean to itemize. What does it mean to itemize? We stayed on that for a little while. I think we got into detail with that, and I think hopefully somebody got some value out of that one. But by itemized deductions, they're tax deductions that you take, that you're going to take for your various expenses. Basically, you're going to every single thing that falls into a category of being able to be itemized, that falls into your status as well. See, everybody can't. Well, I don't want to say status. Well, yeah, status. So basically, to make it simple, if somebody is single, and with the tax laws changing, there's only so many things that we can itemize to take deductions. But basically, let's say if there were 7 things that they can itemize, and they itemize those 7 things, the next statement says that they can sometimes exceed the standard deduction. That means that itemizing on your tax return can make a huge difference on your tax bill. So if you have 7 things that you're able to itemize and actually deduct, and it exceeds the standard deduction, then of course it would make more sense to take the standard deduction. But itemized deductions are tax deductions that you take, you're going to take for various expenses that you take on during the tax year. But they have to be qualified deductions as well. Anybody want to chime in on that?
So in other words, if they have enough deductions, they would, well, the term that we've always used was long form and short form.
Okay, I go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the short form would be the standard deduction, and they won't have any other deductions, enough deduction to do the itemization.
The itemized would be the long form,
The
and they got to
itemized would
come
be the
up.
long form, and
They got to come up with
the
receipts.
standard
They got to
deduction
come.
would be
Yeah.
the short form.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
in an instant, most time, if people are renting and they don't have a mortgage and then they don't have a business, I would probably say they wouldn't have enough to do the itemize for that form.
Well, I go a little further, Miss Berth.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't got no business, and I say I ain't got no, I know that's a double negative. I know that's I need people to hear this. The tax laws have changed so much in favor of business owners.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, for the people who choose not to use that as a strategy to lower your taxes, that if you don't have business deductions, well, you're not going to be able to do anything anyway. So your itemized deductions don't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Unless let's say someone has charitable contributions, not just tithing and offering, but other charitable contributions. Maybe they gave to a qualified charitable contribution, because a lot of people don't know this either. And I don't want to go in the weeds, James, but people say, well, I gave to this place and I gave to that place. That ain't on the list. All of those places are not on the list. But let's say somebody did and they were able to have a legitimate itemization of over the single rate, right? Which is $12,400 for 2020. Let's say they itemized and they got up to $16,000 itemizing. Well, two things are going to happen. You're going to have to now the question is, how much money did they make? Because they may be in a higher tax bracket, a higher income bracket. But then you also got to think, if you look at I believe the IRS looks at this. If they didn't make a lot of money, it's not going to really be logical to even believe that they would even have those types of itemized deductions.
Right.
People trying to get over. Yeah. Basically, it's easier, it's simpler to have a business strategy or an investment strategy to lower your taxes than it is to drum up some itemized deductions. That's what I want to say.
Right. Okay. Well, and I like the fact, working with James, because everything you do, he want documentation.
Yeah, because documentation beats conversation.
Right. And I admire that, I had to work a little hard. I had to work, but he could tell you everything he asked for, I had it, right, James?
Yeah.
Miss Burns, I need this. All right, James, give me a few days. He was on it. I need this, I need this, I need that. And I was like, okay, James. So that's when you got someone that have your interest. It's not about, him getting $1 or getting paid. It's about it's to your advantage. And therefore it covers you and covers him, And so I admire that about him. That was just, hey, he put me to work, but it was worth it.
A lot of times, if that's another true sign of somebody who is doing the correct thing, asking questions, and being diligent. Oftentimes we go to tax professionals or professional tax preparers, and we're not asking questions. Even when people go to the assembly line, I like to call it the assembly line tax places. They just take your paperwork, stamp, and push it through. It's a long line, right?
Oh yeah.
They're only asking what the computer's telling them to ask.
Yeah.
And
I got a scare from one tax preparer of mine. They audited them.
Yeah.
And of course they wanted to question me. These people coming to my house. I was like, what is this?
Oh, it's serious.
I was kind of nervous and afraid that I was being audited. In a sense, I was.
In a sense, you were.
Yeah.
In a sense, you were. Yeah.
In a sense, I was, because they did my taxes, and then I had to entertain them and ask questions, and they set up a meeting. And I was like, okay. They didn't know I was going to have my lawyer there. Yeah, it was like, oh, if we had known you was going to have your lawyer, I said, you think I was going to stand up to you all without a lawyer?
Well,
I was glad I had him there, because they was asking me questions, and he said, well, you don't have to answer that. And it wasn't a tax lawyer. He was just a lawyer.
Yeah.
And
they come in, they flip the badge.
That's what they did.
The agents.
We from the IRS. There were two of them. They always come in
a couple types of agents too. Yeah.
And we're going to ask you questions, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, we could set up a meeting. I had a meet. I didn't want a meeting in my house. I had a meet at my office, in the conference room, along with the lawyer. And they were very upset that I had a lawyer. I said, well, I'm not standing up to you without a lawyer. I don't know I don't know all the legality. So why would I not have a lawyer? So they were really shocked, because they probably was prepared for some stuff that I didn't know, but there was a question that was asked that my lawyer said, you don't have to answer that. And
well, oftentimes, a lot of things is driven by fear anyway. Most things are driven by fear, so they probably figured they was gonna catch you, asking you some stuff.
So after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have all my stuff. I had enough time with all my stuff, because I've never been audited. And I said, that was an eye opener for me.
Yeah, it's really a lot of people. It could go either way, Miss Bertha. A lot of people would have taken that. Some people would have taken that. Well, I'm good. I keep on doing what I'm doing. Some people take it seriously, because that is a chance right now. There's nothing wrong with being audited.
Right.
All an audit is a check and balance.
Right.
That's
so I assumed that they weren't doing some stuff right.
It could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been. They could have had some things come across their desk.
Yeah.
Or it could have just been their time to get out.
Well, from what they were showing me on the return, there was some stuff that wasn't right.
A preparer doesn't just get audited unless they're doing something wrong.
Oh yeah,
they're giving businesses away. They got some people that's giving businesses away.
Yeah, that too.
And
giving some deduction that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, somebody got a home-based business and didn't know it.
Yeah,
got a big refund and didn't see it. Got a big refund, didn't see it.
I tell you what, I cut them a loose.
Yeah, well,
I was like, I don't need none of this no more. I let them go.
that and it takes that sometimes. So you got to think about why is it that happened.
Yeah,
but like James corrected it. They ain't getting audited for no reason.
Oh yeah,
somebody said something.
Yeah, they did.
Somebody said something.
Yeah.
So check it out. Is it best to itemize or take the standard deduction?
Well, you just answered that question, really.
Every situation is different, right?
Yeah.
Every situation is different. We can't put nobody in the box,
right?
And can't put your tax situation in the box. And if somebody's trying to rush you to do something, I think a good lesson learned. And I don't want to take what I think my our tax professional is going to say, but basically, you're responsible. Ultimately, you're responsible.
Right. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
you're responsible. And not only that same year, maybe the next year, someone filed. I had just left their office, and he called me before I got home. Miss Winston, someone has already filed your taxes. You already filed your taxes. I said, what do you mean? I just left your office. How could you say I filed my tax? He said, well, somebody has filed your taxes. So that's when I became a fraudulent. Someone fraud and filed our taxes.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
I had never heard of that in my life. I couldn't even believe it, but it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I would tell people if they're listening. Don't sleep on identity theft protection.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important, especially. I hate the fact that what's going on is going on, but it's happening. But anytime you see a shift in the world economy, that's when hackers come out.
Mm-hmm.
They're already there.
Yeah.
but they're going to be even more present when there's a shift in the economy. Basically, when times start getting hard, people are going to find a way.
Oh yes. Oh
They
yeah.
sure will.
Oh
They're going to
yes.
find a way.
Oh
You
yes.
know, my dad always told me a lazy person is going to find a way to do something easy. They're going to sit down and wait. They're going to think about it.
Yeah,
Well,
they are.
I learned a smart person is too.
Yeah.
A smart person go find a better way as well. So
yeah, you're right. You're right. So I
Hey,
mean, things do happen, you
Yeah.
know,
you got to
out of
protect
your
yourself.
control. You know, I
You
had
gotta
no
protect
control over that. You know.
But when you know when you know that people are out there struggling, suffering, desperate, especially with this right here,
Mhm.
people protect their phones because they think their phone is expensive, but your phone ain't expensive. It's the information that's on your phone that's expensive.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
You can
That's
tell
right.
what somebody like to eat by getting them access to their phone.
Mhm. Yep. That's right.
It gets that deep. So you got to protect yourself. So just a plug, if you don't have any identity theft protection, you guys really need to get some. Definitely need to get some. Hey, it's about 3 minutes before the hour. We're gonna do a round robin. Miss Lillis, you got something you want to leave with the audience?
As far as taxes or just anything?
Just to wrap up. Just anything, just wrap up. Yeah.
Actually, I mean, as far as the taxes, you definitely need to get with the right person who has your best interest at heart. Like I said, I put the wrong status on. So I mean, the education is there. You need the education. So just come to one of us, and we can help you.
All right. Miss Bertha, what you want to leave the people with?
I would just like to say, do the right thing. You know, you should. If you do the right thing, you won't ever have to worry about getting caught. You know, if you do the right thing. This is education that we're giving you. If you've been doing it wrong, now it's time to do it right. Because I always told my kid, always do the right thing, and then you won't have to worry about rectifying it. And even sometimes when you do the right thing, some wrong thing happened. Like I was doing the right thing, filing my taxes, and somebody filed my taxes fraudulent. So even that, you know, that could happen as well. And we are here educating you. And I would hope that you would take this to heart. And we've all been there, we've all done this. So we know we've been there, done that. So now we're doing it right, and we're trying to educate you for you to do it right as well. That's what I have to say.
Hey, awesome. We just want to help people. That's it. We just want to make sure we know we're going in the right direction. Mr. Hall.
Well, I just want to quickly answer the question. When it comes to itemized deductions, we're talking about Schedule A. If you don't know if you itemize or don't know if you can, just go look at the Schedule A. Just go Google it. IRS Schedule A. It'll tell you which topics cover itemized deductions. Regardless of business, you can have the best of both worlds, where you can actually itemize and leverage those deductions that are on the Schedule A, and still get a lot of business deductions. They go hand in hand. I think we don't want to stick with the standard deduction when we can clearly get something better than the standard deduction. The standard deduction is for if we don't necessarily know how to beat it. But there are opportunities to beat it with itemize. We're looking at, even in my household, because we always do standard. It was just bigger. Once they raised it to almost 25 grand, it was a shoe-in. But now, as we start to raise our income, standard deduction ain't enough. So we got to start maybe giving more. We got to start maybe looking at some other opportunities to be able to beat it, because I would rather keep my money and control where it's going than to give it to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
Something you said is going to continue to stick with me. It's going to continue to stick with me. The first thing I want to say is the word standard speaks for itself. Across the board, they put everybody in a box.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't mean you got to stay in that box. Like you said, there's ways to exceed the standard deduction. There's strategies that you can use to exceed standard deduction. You said something very key: giving more. Find ways to give more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it ain't hurting, we ain't really giving. That's a personal relationship that you're gonna have to build, with God. But if I got a shirt in my closet that I don't like and I give it away, am I really giving?
Yes.
I'm giving, but I'm not giving from it. Yeah. I don't like the shirt anyway, basically.
Right.
What I'm saying.
So
I'm not giving from
it doesn't hurt. It's not.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, but the reality is you're still doing something good.
I'm doing something.
Versus throwing it away.
I gotta get my mind.
Well, I'm saying the concept of give till it hurt is what got people hurting right now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let me clean it up then. If I go in my closet and I give somebody a ragged shirt that I don't want, right? Something that I don't want that I ain't wearing, it's just torn up, it's ragged, and I have a choice to give them something that's gonna be decent versus giving them something that's ragged. And I give them something ragged, I'm not doing the right thing. So a lot of times we find ourselves in the wrong position. We're not in the right position. And in order to get in the right position, this is why we're doing calls like this, to put you in the right position. Something else was Bertha said. She said, find yourself doing the right thing. Well, I gotta say something that James always says. What if you don't know what the right thing is? You gotta position yourself. No, you gotta position yourself to get around objective personalities, things that go against what you were already doing.
If they're on this call, they know how to do the right thing.
They're on the call, they're not doing. They should, you're right. But for the ones that's out there that's listening, saying, hey, I don't know where to get started, definitely get back with anybody who shared this information on your timeline, you see it on, so we can help you get in the right direction, because there are some people that just don't know what right looks like, what correct looks like. And it's really important. It's really important that we practice correct and right. Yeah. So, hey, I appreciate everybody for coming on the panel tonight. I had some fun. I always have fun. I hope the audience got some value out of what we shared. I owe much thanks to you, because without you being on the panel, I'd just be talking to myself. So it ain't that fun, it's not that fun.
Which you don't have a problem doing.
No, I don't have a problem talking to myself. I don't have a problem talking to myself. And, sometimes I argue with myself, but I don't,
Well, it's been very educational for me, these kinds of, I'm doing the right thing, and it's still educational for me, it just reiterate, that, what I already know I need to be doing. And it's just awesome. I'm excited to be a part of it, because I'm learning more, even still being on the panel, so it's cool.
Always learning something new.
Yes.
I gotta answer this. Okay, now I just want to say this comment. Someone said, let me see, I got on late, but if you don't have those receipts, you better take the standardized deduction. That was Miss April Frazier out of Charleston, South Carolina. And once again, correct, right? You can't
cash
prove
flow
it.
manager.
Yeah, you can't prove it. It's just a mute subject. Hey, listen, y'all. We got Miss Lillis Lumpkins out of St. Louis, Missouri. Miss Bertha Winston out of the DMV. Mr. James Hall out of Fallen Waters, West Virginia. We missing a couple of people, a couple of our regulars on here. A few of our regulars. Miss Quartina Trafford out of Rocket City. Pastor Gregory Napier out of Columbus, Ohio, and Mr. June Collier out of Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, they with us in spirit, y'all. Hey, check it out. Like I always say, when you know better, that's when you have the ability to do better. My name is Eric McKinley, and y'all know me, man. But the only knowledge that's really powerful is properly applied knowledge. And when we start checking that out and putting it to work and putting it to good use, we will see some positive results. And remember what I said in the beginning, we have to remain consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't jump in and then jump out because it didn't happen fast enough. You got to be consistent. So we will see each and every one of y'all at the top.
There's too many people struggling at the bottom.
Y'all have a good evening. Have a good weekend.